Hello again and welcome back to the Football Spy Show, sponsored by our friends at the car giant Renault. Coming up on the show today, we've got the latest on the trouble with Arsenal. We've got some more of your predictions for the new season, but first, the transfers. And the exodus continues at Arsenal, with Emmanuel Abuye joining Galatasaray on a 4-year deal yesterday for £3.5 million. Robert Green's a target for the Newcastle manager Alan Pardew, while West Ham, they're considering a move for the man who just can't stop generating column inches, the Newcastle midfielder Joey Barton. We like new names here on the Football Spy Show, so here's one for you Liverpool fans. Sky Sports report that Liverpool have had an inquiry rebuffed for the Celtic winger Paddy McCourt. He's 27. He scored 2 superb goals in Scotland's 4-0 win over the Faroe Islands last week, but he struggled to establish himself as a regular in the Celtic side since he arrived from Derry City in 2008. He's a left winger, which is interesting as Liverpool already have Stuart Downing, although Downing can indeed play on the right-hand side. They call Paddy McCourt the Derry Pele, which is obviously stretching things a little bit, but Celtic don't want to sell him, while Liverpool are clearly very keen. We'll watch that one with interest. Right, now we'll go through a few of your messages shortly, but I'm pleased to say that with Arsenal in meltdown, we're joined by our inside man, John Cross, to give us his take on the situation. John, good morning.
Good morning.
Lots of questions from our viewers to put to you, but I suppose the biggest one is, could this be Arsene Wenger's last season at Arsenal?
Well, I do think it could be, because I think in previous years, Arsene Wenger has always been untouchable. You know, he's just been the man that, you know, is beyond question at Arsenal. But the fans are getting restless, and they're wanting big name signings. You know, Arsenal have to do well in the Champions League, in the Premier League. Those are the standards that Arsene Wenger has set himself. And you know, if they don't maintain that, then it's Arsene Wenger under pressure.
Viewers on here have heard Arsene Wenger ruling out moves for the likes of Juan at Valencia and Jadson at Shakhtar Donetsk, but I know you know that he's not actually out of the running for those players, is he? No,
I wouldn't be too shocked to see Mata, you know, still become an Arsenal player. I think it's, you know, I think the chances have faded somewhat. I think Jadson is still certainly also on the agenda. I think an offer perhaps pre-August the 1st, if you like, for Mata is still on the table. I think there's an interest there in Jadson, and I think the one thing that Arsene Wenger has been anxious to do is avoid ramping up their price by talking about how much he wants them. And so it's almost like a game of poker, a bit of bluff into saying that we're no longer interested or giving that impression. But you know, I think Arsenal fans will forgive him sort of being economical with the truth. I'm not so sure I will be, but you know, if he lands big players by the end of the window.
Do you expect him to?
I think he'll certainly sign another midfielder and a centre half. I still think that Gary Cahill could be an option, and I think everyone else, you know, I think Jagiel could probably be his first choice. We know he's had bids turned down for that, and I think everyone else is slightly sort of the backup options, but I think Gary Cahill would still be near the top of his list at the moment, and plus a midfielder.
Well, with a year left on his contract, how much is Gary Cahill worth? Lots of people talk about 18 million. That can't.
Well, he's got a buyout clause in his contract, and that's clever marketing, I think, by Bolton. Really, they know that he you know, in normal terms, if they didn't have that clause in his contract, then he'd be you know, £6 million, wouldn't he? Because of that decreasing value because of his contract. So it's been clever, really, and I think that is where the sticking point is. I think Arsenal like him. They see a couple of things in his game that they think it doesn't make him quite what they want, but also it means that they don't want to pay £17 million for him.
And last question: do you expect Arsenal to finish in the top 4?
Well, that is a really difficult question. It's one that I've been sort of wrestling with. On one day I'll think, no, I think they're going to struggle. I think it's going to be Liverpool. On another day it's going to be Arsenal. I do think Arsenal will just edge it. I think it will massively depend on who they bring in before the end of the window. But I do think that Arsene Wenger will lead them into the top 4. Just. Absolutely.
John Cross, I'm sure we'll get you back on to answer some more questions from our viewers. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
More transfers for you, and Arsenal have renewed their interest in Torino defender Andrea Ogbonna. His new name for us, so let's take a look at him. He's Italian of Nigerian descent. He's 23 and he plays at centre half. He's done so well for his club that in June this year he became the first Torino player to be called up to the Italian national team since 2007. That despite playing in Serie B. Watch that particular space. Some more of your predictions for the new season. My name's Who Thinks Chelsea are going to finish top of the Premier League here in England ahead of Manchester United, with City third and Liverpool fourth. He's another one who doesn't think Arsenal are going to finish in the top four. Just this once, I'm going to allow fun sniping to get away with this, because I know he doesn't seriously believe that Bolton are going to win the English Premier League, but he does have them ahead of City with United and Chelsea behind them. Bit of wishful thinking there. Mr. Assyrian King thinks the new signings at Real Madrid are going to help Jose Mourinho to steer them to the Spanish title ahead of Barcelona, with money bags Malaga in third and Atletico Madrid in fourth. And back to the Premier League because Beresu thinks Swansea are going to go down despite showing promise against City on Monday night. Also tipped by Beresu to go down are Wigan and Norwich. Very interesting indeed. I'm still looking also for your golden boot tips as well, and your top 10s, the best signings of this season so far, so keep them coming. We'll do a few later this week. Now, we still want to know which game you think will produce the most goals from this weekend's Premier League fixtures. Monday's game between Manchester United and Spurs doesn't count, just Saturday's games and the Sunday games. We don't need the scores, just the game that you think are going to produce the most goals. As usual, if you get it right and we pick you, then you win the Premier League shirt of your choice. Please also tell us where you're calling from when you get in touch. Now on YouTube, Mark Bockley's in New Hampshire, USA. He thinks it's going to be Wolves against Fulham. Atul Canal is in Toronto, Canada, and thinks it's going to be Swansea against Wigan. Schumacher 100 is in Holland, thinks it's going to be Chelsea against West Brom. And Super Cha 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 thinks that Everton against QPR is the game that will generate the most goals this weekend. Which game do you think is going to produce the most goals? Post, tweet and email us. If you get it right and we pick you, then you will indeed win the Premier League shirt of your choice. The Football Spy Show is back with you soon. I'll see you next time.